Hi friends, welcome to week 3 of the No Spend Pantry Challenge. My name is Amy and I live on 42 acres with my family of 5 in central Victoria, Australia. And we made it through another week without spending much money on food. I did buy a box of mangoes as fruit is scarce in our house at the moment, and I've been having the mangoes for breakfast, and on these 2 days here I had them on banana oat waffles. The rest of my family had the waffles with some berries from the freezer on top and maple syrup. I was also working through a mushroom nut loaf that I'd made for Christmas and I had it in the freezer. So we had it for dinner and then I had the leftovers of the nut loaf for lunch the next day. On Tuesday night, I made a roast vegetable frittata with potatoes and pumpkin. We have so many eggs coming in from the hens at the moment, so be prepared for lots of egg-based meals coming up in the next few weeks. I fried up the last mushrooms from the fridge to go with the frittata as well. On Wednesday, I had a bit of a bake day. As usual, I will have the measurements and ingredients in the description box below, but if you have a Thermomix, you should be able to search for these recipes yourself. I started the baking with a mock Snickers Slice. In it are dates, which you soak in water for 10 minutes, and while it is soaking, I added the rest of the ingredients into the Thermomix bowl. Peanut butter, vanilla paste, and coconut oil. I was also supposed to add peanuts, but I don't have any peanuts at the moment and the theme is to use what I have on hand. So I thought about using another nut, but instead I just left them out altogether. I did use chunky peanut butter instead of the smooth that was required in the recipe. So I figured a few bits of peanuts will be in the chunky peanut butter. I drained off the dates and added them into the Thermomix bowl. Once it was all blended, I added the brown rice puffs. I can't remember what I was going to use these rice puffs for, but I've had them for quite some time and I'm glad to be using them up now. The next step is to melt the chocolate to put on top. The chocolate didn't melt very easily. I think chocolate chips aren't made for melting, but it worked out well once I smoothed it on top. And after I smoothed it, the slice goes into the fridge to harden. For the next recipe, I needed some hazelnut chocolate spread, so I started making the spread first. I began with toasting some hazelnuts. The recipe called for sugar, but I used coconut sugar, and then it asked for 1 teaspoon of vanilla sugar. After whizzing the sugar into a powder, I added cacao powder and then the toasted hazelnuts. You then whiz all of that together. I scraped down the bowl and then added the milk. I chose almond milk because that's what I have on hand and needed to use up. Then I placed the basket on top of the Thermomix bowl for cooking the spread. The recipe then asks for dark chocolate, but I wanted to use up some chocolate chips that I have, so I added those and then some coconut oil. Now that the hazelnut spread has been made, I can make a chewy mint choc slice. For this slice, I weighed the almond milk in a jug to put aside. Then in the Thermomix bowl, I added some of the chocolate hazelnut spread that I'd made. My kids have eaten through the rest of this jar and I've been requested to make more. So I will be making more of this hazelnut chocolate spread. The recipe asked for agave syrup, but I saw this as a great opportunity to use up some of this jar of rice syrup. I melted the ingredients in the bowl and then added the rolled oats, some milled oats, as I was supposed to add oat bran. Then I added some puffed rice, cacao powder, and then the mint I dehydrated and powdered previously. The recipe asked for peppermint extract, but this mint powder worked so well, and I'm going to be making more of it for these sorts of recipes. I added more of the white chocolate chips. The recipe asked for dark chocolate chips, but again, I'm using what I have on hand. And then as it's blending, I slowly pour the milk into the mixture. The mixture unfortunately did not mix as well as I'd hoped, and I probably could have put it in for another lot of mixing, but instead I made it work by mixing it in the greased baking dish and then smoothing it all over in the end. The slice goes into the fridge to harden and can be cut up and put into containers to store in the fridge until served. For dessert that night, we had a slice each of the raw Snickers Slice. It was really nice and I'll definitely be making it again. Perhaps next time I will add the peanuts to it. For dinner that night, I wanted to use up some of the many packets of noodles we have. First, I added garlic cloves, some chilli powder, and some frozen Egyptian onions that I've had in the freezer with some coconut oil. This will be the topping for the noodle dish that I will be making, and it will be kept in a bowl until we're ready to serve. So this sauce was cooked in the Thermomix bowl after blending the ingredients together. Next, I prepared the vegetables. I had a capsicum and some carrots and a purple onion to go into the dish. I added some coconut oil for cooking and cooked it in the Thermomix with the blades going backwards so that it doesn't cut up the vegetables. The vegetables finished cooking and so I put them in the serving bowl. I've got this large amount of ginger to use. This recipe is perfect for using some of this up, so I peeled and sliced a large chunk. For this recipe, I'm using the soba noodles and I'm cooking the whole packet. I cooked it as per the instructions on the packet. For the sauce, I added peanut butter, tamari sauce, rice wine vinegar, maple syrup, lemon juice, and black sesame oil. I added everything to the bowl and mixed it all together. I'm loving all this fresh basil coming out of my garden at the moment. I picked some to chop up and mix into the noodle dish. To serve the dish, we added the garlic chili onion sauce on top. I'll definitely be making this dish again. The next day for lunch, I got another packet of noodles out and the leftover noodle dish from the night before. The rest of the garlic, onion and chili topping would be the base for this next dish. I added some chopped carrots and 2 sheets of this nori as well. We have a lot of nori to use, and this noodle soup was the best recipe to use it in. I cooked this soup on the stove and heated up the leftover noodles from the night before as well. I added tamari to the soup and I enjoyed a little bit of both of these dishes for lunch. For a little afternoon snack, we had some of the chocolate mint slice. It was so lovely and the mint made it really refreshing. For dinner, I planned a chicken curry. In this recipe, I used a brown onion, garlic cloves, fresh turmeric, fresh ginger, ground cumin, chili powder, salt, olive oil, coconut cream, a can of chopped tomatoes, a small amount of tapioca flour to thicken up the sauce, and some spinach and kale from my garden. I believe I added some carrots to this dish as well. We had this with rice and my whole family loved it. My kids made dinner on Friday night and I forgot to film it. They made a sauce with pasta and I was doing a liver flush, so I wasn't eating and had forgotten to document the meals that my family had on Friday and Saturday. However, on Saturday night, I was ready to cook and eat a meal and I felt like another curry. I used some spring onions from the freezer, fresh ginger and turmeric, coconut cream, my curry paste from the freezer. It's the last one, so I'll be needing to make another batch of my curry paste. I used the first 2 zucchinis from my garden, very excited about that, and the rest of this pumpkin from last year's harvest. I also added some chickpeas from the freezer. I also opened the pickled zucchinis that I had in the pantry and added this to the curry as one of you suggested it in my pantry tour video, and thank you very much. It tasted so good in the curry. I'm going to be using the rest of this pickled zucchini for another curry in the future. I roasted some more of the potatoes in the pantry to go with the curry. I've been keen to work through the rest of the potatoes that we've had from the shops in our pantry because we're about to harvest our own potatoes, which I can't wait to do. Later in the week, I purchased a box of apricots and a box of strawberries, as summer fruit is hard to pass up in January, especially when these strawberries I got were $15 for 2.5 kilos. I made a crumble for dessert with some of the apricots. I used crushed almonds, desiccated coconut, honey and oats for the topping, and I just cut the apricots in half to put in the bottom of the dish. It was really delicious and really easy to put together. On the last day of this week, I went into my garden to pick some kale and dandelion leaves to make a green smoothie. I drank it with a bowl of mango for breakfast, and everyone had a little bit of the smoothie with their own breakfasts. For lunch, we had leftover curry, and I put a dollop of beetroot dip on top of mine. The kids had some of this strawberry loaf after lunch. My youngest had made it the day before with some of the bulk strawberries we got. For dinner on Sunday, I had defrosted some more chicken to use up from the freezer and decided to make apricot chicken risotto with it. In this dish, I used garlic, ginger, rice, vegetable stock, some salt, spring onions, some carrots from my garden, celery from the freezer, diced chicken, and apricots. I also defrosted some homegrown blanched broccoli to have with this dish, and I also added thyme to the dish as well. To make this, I first browned the diced chicken in batches and put it in a bowl to set aside. After the chicken was cooked, I then fried the spring onions, celery and carrots. I grated the ginger and crushed the garlic and added that to the vegetables as well. To this, I then added the rice and then the hot water. Then I added the vegetable stock, the thyme and salt to the pan. I stirred occasionally and added more water when needed. I added the cooked chicken and apricots to the pan when the rice was about somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes away from being cooked. I steamed up the frozen broccoli and the dinner was ready. This dish was really nice and I'll definitely be making it again. Thank you so much for watching this Pantry Challenge video, friends. I hope your week has been a good one and I will see you again very soon.